It's about when you are out having a great day, living your best life, and you accidentally run into an ex, and there's still like sparks there, and that kind of that feeling.
What's your husband think about that?
Well,
does he know? Should we edit this bit out?
Yeah. He was a part of the song. So
okay. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Good Vibes Show. It's Marie Hopkinson here, and today I'm joined by ML Ruubz, an awesome singer-songwriter, musician. And we're going to talk about her music, her new album that's being released soon, some singles that she's got coming out. Welcome so much, ML.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. So tell us about your music. I would say it's different.
Did you know that you're my favorite?
When I hear it, I think, oh, this is different. Like,
we'd hold so tightly back, we'd never break apart again.
Good different.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely good different. It's for me, I felt like, it's very unexpected. Like you have a lot of different bits and pieces going on in the song all the time.
Yep.
It's probably something that you would listen to actively. I felt like it was very engaging. And what made you get into that kind of maybe you can firstly say what genre that is. Is it because it's jazzy? Maybe I also thought you're almost like a female Michael Bublé kind of style.
Okay, yeah.
Not so much your voice being Michael Bublé, but the rest of the backing kind of thing was like, Michael Bublé could easily slot into that style, and intricate, right? Very detailed.
A lot going on. Yes. Yeah. So I call my genre pop fusion, and that's just because there's a lot of different genres and influences in it. So it's kind of like a pop base, but then it's got elements of all different genres, and that's because all of the musos in my band come from all different genres. So I was classically trained. I did classical piano at UWA.
Right, I picked that straight off. I thought this person's gone to Whopper. Something like that.
So classical. And then my drummer, Ryan Dawn, is a jazz drummer, so like proper jazz drummer. The guitarist, Cam Ellis, is also kind of classical background, but very like into the pop and contemporary kind of scene. And the bass player, James Ventulo, is like funk soul kind of background. And my husband and other keys player, Johan Rodrigues, is very like R&B groove kind of background. So just lots of different influences.
So you've got nearly every genre in that band.
Pretty much,
together.
Yeah. And I didn't mention rock, but all of us, like a couple of us really are into the rock stuff as well, like James and me and Cam. So a lot of everything. So the song that you're probably thinking of with Signature Grin, which was my most recent single, it's quite jazzy, quite funk, but there are some that are a little bit metal, some that are a bit more ambient. So and I think that at the heart of it all is very kind of a pop song, just surrounded by all these different elements.
Yeah. I would say it's like a pop song with all these different things infused into it.
So that's why I call it pop fusion. But that's not really a real thing. That's just what I call it.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Good. It's good because I think it's great to have your own names to describe how your music is, and rather than having to fit into other people's worlds sometimes.
Well, I mean, that's how it started. Like when I was first like gigging and playing music with other people, and they would listen to me, like no one would kind of own me as their own genre. So like I remember playing with like early on, which is kind of hilarious, like a bunch of jazz guys, and they were like, oh yeah, you don't play like a jazz person, you play like a classical person, which is apparently an insult, but anyway, it's true.
So what kind of classical music did you do? Like you studied a whole degree in classical music?
Just so it was like classical. So it was at UWA, it was mainly focused on, I guess, like Baroque, neoclassical, romantic, postmodern, basically just very art music, but not jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was what you played the piano in that?
Yes.
Yeah. As your main instrument for UWA?
So it's very technical. Yeah.
I went to Perth Mod.
Nice. Yeah. You would know
I
then.
hated it. I hated it.
It's like it's a thing.
People either aspired, like most of the people in the course at Perth Mod aspired to go to uni and do music.
Yeah.
And they just that's all they wanted to do with their life. Like it was like so competitive and
yeah.
And it's like, I mean, it's a hard degree to do. It's hard to get into. People don't realise how hard it is to get into, but it's really hard to make a living out of it once you've done the degree.
Yep.
It's hard. Yeah. So well done.
Oh, thank you.
Wow.
Yeah. So I actually I did want to go to WAPA, but because in uni I did a double degree, I did neuroscience as well, and they didn't really have that option at WAPA, which is why I went to UWA.
Music wasn't hard enough for you by itself.
Well, no, because like I kind of grew up, especially in high school and just as I was growing up, being like, I'm going to be a scientist like my parents because they're both researchers. And then I kind of did music as well because I'm like, I can't let go. I still wanted it there.
So do you like what got you into songwriting, like this kind of style? Did you take a break from what you did at uni? Did you just go? Have you always been doing this for a long time?
Yeah, I've been writing for like as long as I can remember. I would probably say I'm a writer first before a musician. I have published a book, and I did that when I was 16. So writing was always just there. And then when I went to uni and did music, that gave me just a lot more tools musically to work with. And so then, I incorporated the songwriting into what I do. But yeah, even before uni, I was songwriting and just making up anything, poetry, prose. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And what do you prefer, getting the message out in a book or in a poem or in a song? Like, do you have a preference, or are they all different?
They're all different, and I think they all have their place and their purpose. So I'd love to kind of do some more like cross platform, cross media kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm playing around with ideas.
Yeah, maybe one day your song will stop and it'll just be someone reading a poem.
Yeah, just like being experimental. Yeah,
that's so cool. Something different. Yeah. It's interesting because we're so stuck into this 3-minute type of thing with songs and expectation. That's what I meant by like your song's unexpected. And whenever I hear that sort of music, it always makes me think your brain's being constantly trained by all this radio bulldust that you listen to all the time. Not that it's all bulldust. Some of it's lovely music. Most of it
I
is.
understand.
But you don't realise how much that's shaping you. And shaping expectations. This is what a song is. This is what it, should be, or that kind of thing. So it's good that you've got the courage to kind of take it to a different place and express your own style, no matter.
Yeah. Actually, I think so. When I did the classical degree at UWA, especially, and I think this is in a lot of kind of classical based tertiary education places. It's you have to play the notes in a very specific way, in a very exact kind of expression and things like that. And so as I was going through that, I was just like, oh man, I want to make my own music. So that probably inspired me to do my own, being creative as well and not just being locked into a very specific way of playing. It was great, because it gave me such good technique classically and it just made me a better player, but it was very rigid. Yeah.
Are you the kind of person that can play by ear as well, or do you like it just to be written out, the notes to play?
A bit of both, as long as I get to practice it. Yeah, I can read charts or play by ear, but I'm not fantastic like on the spot in either way. I need to practice.
Yeah. So not sort of improvise like.
No, I can't improvise. I wish I could. Yes, I started to get lessons and I would like to continue doing that. Yeah.
Improvisational lessons.
Yeah, improvisational and jazz and like extended harmony. Okay. Yes, trying to upskill.
Yeah, right. Wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're listening on YouTube. Really appreciate that. Subscribe. And also if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, it really helps if you rate the show. That's great if you can do that. So tell us about your new song. You've got a few coming out with the album that's coming in the future. But you've just started putting some singles out from that album.
Yeah.
That Signature Grin is the one that I heard a few days ago. That only just came out, right?
Yes, that came out. Yeah, just as of the recording of this, like 2 days ago. So super fresh. So that is thematically, it's about when you are out having a great day, living your best life, and you accidentally run into an ex, and there's still like sparks there, and that kind of that feeling.
What's your husband think about that?
Well,
does he know? Should we edit this bit out?
Yeah. He was a part of the song. So
okay.
It is an old song that I wrote many years ago. But musically it's very like jazz funk kind of inspired.
It was a good day, a really good day.
Do you know the band Wolfpack? I don't know if you've heard of them.
No.
They're like a modern funk band, very retro kind of style, but very fun to listen to and to see them play. So all of us in the band, in my band, we really got inspired by that particular kind of music and that like scene for this song, Signature Grin. So it's very Wolfpack inspired. There's like a drum solo, like a sizzling
I heard
drum
that.
solo.
This is a signature grin.
And
like wow, this is
and
to
like
another level.
A guitar solo as well. So it's like a pop song, but it's very like funk infused.
Yeah, cool. And what the next single that you've got some other ones coming out?
Yes. So the next one is called Favorite, and it is about my favorite person, my husband.
Oh, okay. So there was one about the ex and then one about the husband.
Well, okay. So even Signature Grin. So when we first started dating, me and my husband, we like the first year that we were going out was just like very dramatic. We broke up like 5 times.
Oh, wow.
And then got back together. Anyway, so that's that backstory.
Have you got the Phil Collins vibes going on there?
Yeah.
That's probably what made you turn out so many good songs.
Yeah. So a lot of my songs are, sorry Johan, just inspired by him and all this shit that we've been through. Wait, am I allowed to swear on here?
That's fine.
Yeah. So Favorite is like a newer song, probably one of the newer ones that I've written. And so at home I say just these nonsense phrases at my husband because words of affirmation is my love language.
Yeah.
And one of the things I say is, did you know that you're my favorite? And so that's pretty much the lyric that goes throughout this whole song in Favorite. Yeah.
And does your husband write songs in return to you?
I don't know. Oh, yeah, he does. He does. He does. Yeah.
He hasn't published any.
He hasn't published any. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Like you've got your own little song game going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cute. Okay. And so then you've got your album coming later on in this year. Are you going to do, not this year, next year, you've got the album launch that you're going to do?
Yes.
This is your second album? Or?
This is my second album.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. And it's been a big, massive work in progress. Like you can hear from this quality of the songs and the intricacy, I would say, of the songs that it seemed like there was a lot of work to make those songs, right?
We worked very hard on them. Yes. My band did an amazing job, and so did Rob, my sound engineer and mixing engineer. He's awesome. He did my first album, as in he recorded and mixed my first album, and I loved working with him so much that I was like, we have to do this again. Yeah.
Yeah, great. With this sort of style, like I listened to your other one that you've got on Spotify.
Oh, yes.
It's quite different.
Yep.
Did you just think, I want to explore different avenues, or did it just kind of come out like that? Have you got different band members?
It's the exact same band. We have added a guitar player, but the rest of the band is the same. So I would say that this second album, Chasing Summer, is a continuation of the music that I had started in the first album, which was called Segway on the Beach. A lot of the songs were actually kind of written at the same time, and I was just in the same, like, over many, many years. Like, I take a long time to do my songwriting, like years.
To write one song?
Yeah, and I'm writing several at the same time. They're kind of all just, like, floating around, and eventually I'll pull them together, but they've, so some of the songs, Signature Grin is, like, 10, 11 years old.
Okay.
And yeah, it was written at the same time as some of the songs for Segway on the Beach. Some of the songs on Segway on the Beach, my first album, are newer than the songs on the second album. It just depends on when I decided to pull them together into an album. When I did Segway on the Beach, I actually wanted to do, like, my vision was to do a double album, but I didn't have enough budget to do that. So I just did the one. And so then Chasing Summer's kind of like the rest of the songs, plus a couple of new ones as well. I think it sounds different because between the two albums, there was 5 years. And just as musicians, all of the band, we've just matured and developed our sound. So that's pretty much the only thing that's changed.
Do you guys gig a lot?
Yeah. Yeah, we do. Yeah. I only really started gigging regularly in 2020, actually, like end of 2019 and then early 2020, which was when COVID happened. So it wasn't actually regular.
Yeah, it's a bummer time to start it.
I know. Well, I didn't know that the pandemic was coming. But the rest of the bands, they were all gigging musicians before. Okay. And before I did my first album, I was doing the occasional fill-in gig. But like as a keys player, like the equipment's just a pain to carry around, which is why at the time I was like, oh, I hate this. Like I'm not cut out for like carrying my gear around and doing gigs. So I didn't do that for a while, but then eventually I was like, it seems like fun. I'll give it a go again. Yeah. And now I've got a bit of a better system of carrying the stuff. Yeah. That was my main barrier.
Yeah, but it is a barrier. Like, when I was at Perth Mod, I was playing the cello. And I used to have to bring my cello to school, right? It's the biggest instrument that you can bloody get. And I remember getting on the bus one day and it was always a struggle because you'd have like your backpack bag with all your books. Like, just remember, kids, like there was no iPads back then. We had to bring our physical books to school.
Yeah.
And like the bus driver goes, like, and I was obviously clearly struggling. And I actually dropped my cello once, and it broke the neck because I'll tell you, it was so traumatizing. Oh, no. But
that said, I've dropped my keyboard several times and they've like cracked as well.
You can't drop a cello; it's fucked after that. And the neck was cracked. I mean, this was the school's cello, so they had it repaired and stuff. And they have insurance for these things, and they're not going to. Anyway, I'm not a reckless person, but it just had happened, right? But it's just hard to struggle with all these bits and pieces. And I was getting on the bus and the bus driver goes, couldn't have you picked the piccolo?
Yeah.
I was like, thanks. Like, you're not helping me, mate. And you get on and then, next thing you know, the bus takes off and it's like, whoa, and you're trying to hold on to this cello and hold on to the bus. And I just have to bring it to school like 3 times a week.
Yeah.
For orchestra and then your lesson and all this other stuff. And
so you feel my pain.
I do, but when I've played in other bands, like the keyboard player seems to have to bring like 2 massive amp things.
Yeah,
to plug it into, plus the keyboard. Yeah, it's a big deal, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm probably just weak as well.
No, it's yeah. And then I was in this band before, and they were like, "Oh, if you're the singer, your job is to bring the PA."
Yeah, actually, I've heard that. Yeah,
I have to carry all these, but then they fair enough. They did most of the heavy lifting, but you can't just bring your microphone if you're a singer. Like usually, they make you bring the PA.
In bands like that where they're like someone has to bring PA, like I will happily give the PA fee to someone else, and usually one of the boys with PA, they're happy to take that extra fee just to take all the stuff, and I'm like, this works out.
Oh, we didn't even have any fee.
Rock up.
We just had to bring it.
Oh yeah, well in that case,
it's no money.
Yeah.
What's this fee that you're talking about? Missing out.
Yeah.
So obviously, music is a huge part of your life. And
yes.
And your partner's husband's life.
Yes.
And what do you think that music kind of does for you that you can't kind of get anywhere else?
That is a hard question because I can't really like quantify that tangibly. I just knew that I couldn't not do music. Like when I was doing the science degree and I had the music, but that was kind of like my side thing. I was just so sad. I was like, I knew it. I wasn't what I wanted to be doing. And when I started doing the music, I'm like, this is where I'm meant to be.
Yeah, okay.
So I can't really like quantify that. I just know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like if someone said you can't have music for a week, what void would be left?
I don't know. I can't imagine that. Like, how would that even work? I don't know. I'd probably do something else creative. Yeah.
They can't stop you from singing.
Well, I mean, they could, but yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, like, isn't it? Like, I think if it's all, especially, did you grow up playing music as a kid?
I started playing the piano when I was 7. Yeah, so for a fair bit.
Yeah, so it's always been part of you. It's almost part of who you are. As a person.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, it's inseparable. And what do you think about songwriting then? Like, what role does that play in your life? Like, does it help you deal with problems? Is it something that you just do for fun? Is it something that you use as a stress, an outlet for your stress?
So writing is just something that I do. I just always have done it, and it's just part of what I've always been doing. I don't know how to describe it. I don't really sit down to write. And actually I do. Yeah. But a lot of the times ideas will just kind of come to me and I will just write them down, and then I will kind of follow that inspiration trail until a song is made. Okay. So that's usually how it works.
How do you do that then? For people that are wondering, like, they're like, how is a song born?
Yeah, I think everyone has a different way of creating. I think maybe for me, I'm just quite a creative person. So if I wasn't doing music, I would be doing something else creative. I'd be drawing or something, or writing or dancing. But yeah, so for me, what happens is I'll get ideas throughout the day. I will either like record them on my like voice memos, or I'll write them down. And then usually I will become obsessed with an idea at some point. Maybe not straight away, maybe like months or years later, I'll like come back to an idea. And then I'll just have to finish it.
Okay. So it's more like a concept. A song's about a concept.
Yeah.
An idea. Like, I want to write a song about this thing. And then that thing brews.
It's not I want to make a song about this. It's that the song exists and I have to make it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Like, there's a song out there.
Yeah. It's just, and I'm just like, it's just going through me. Yeah. I don't know how to explain it, which I understand that's not how a lot of songwriters work, or, writers in general. I think a lot of people have a bit more of a process. I don't really. I do have so once I've got like the ideas of the song, it does take me a long time to craft it how I want it to be. But I guess I don't rush it. I try not to rush it. Like, it's ready when it's ready.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you use like a computer program to do it, or do you just map it out in your head? Do you don't chart it out? Do you let the band come in and do you do some rough guide and the band comes and adds their bits and pieces?
Yeah, depending on the song. A lot of the times I will work on the song by myself, just like me and the piano, and I'll just be playing with it, and I could get lost in that process. And I'll just be in that. I will get lost in this flow moment of creating the song and just playing around with it and just exploring the different options it could go in, and eventually it solidifies into a song. There are some songs like Signature Grin where I had like the main structure of the song, like verse, chorus, bridge, but I knew that I wanted it to be a bit more jammy and a bit more band focused. So then at that point, when like the main part of the song was finished from my end, then I jammed it out with the band and they brought in their ideas. So like Ryan did his drum solo, Cam did his guitar solo, and then there was this like jam section. And then that finalized the song into what it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And does your band prefer to collaborate and bring their ideas to it, or are they quite happy for you to just make up all the parts and tell them what to do?
I think a bit of both. So usually when I bring the songs to my band, they're already pretty much formed, and I just say to them, play this in your own voice or in your style of how you would play it. So say Ryan, my drummer, for example, like if I've mapped out some like MIDI drums, that's just like a guide for him, but he'll usually throw that out the window and play it in his own way. And that's totally, and I love that. Sometimes there are specific written parts and specific hits that I want everyone to get to. And so then, that will become part of it as well. But usually I'm just happy, like my philosophy with working with a band is that I want there's a vision for the song, but I want all the players to still sound like themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's great. Like that you have that you've got some really great players, obviously, that can,
Yeah.
you know, like it's different if you're playing with people that are not that great.
Yeah, no, these guys are great. And I think because we've all developed in the same sort of timeline. So when we did the first album, Segway on the Beach, so Ryan, James and I were both kind of new to the gigging scene. And then like now we've all developed in the same rate. I don't know. Yeah.
You've come together. Like, come along at the same. And there's probably something about playing with the same people over and over and over that you get better at just knowing what each other's going to do in a live setting. You get more like familiar, but also like comfortable and like almost like like a car. You know, like when you first get a new car, that like it's not you're like, where's the, you know, how I just got another Mini Cooper recently, and like everything's on the opposite side to everything else.
Oh no!
Like, they make them like that. I don't know, to just fuck with your head.
Yeah,
and you're like trying to indicate, but you're turning the windscreen wipers on, and you're like,
no,
you know, every time until you've like had a few days of driving this car, and then you're like, oh yeah, now I know what I'm doing. And sometimes you still just default, right?
Yeah,
but yeah, it's so it's so like comforting when you're playing with people that, like, you know, even if you make a stuff up, they will recognize that, but you will just be able to kind of keep going, and no one will kind of know. And it's a comforting thing to sort of know that, hey, if I have a little stuff up, these guys aren't going to sort of amplify that. They're going to just roll with it, and you know, we can kind of have fun here, and we kind of know each other's nuances.
Yes,
like that's what I'm getting at.
And I definitely feel that way about like my band, and other bands that I've started to play regularly with. So like these guys in my band, James, Ryan, Cam, Johan, like they know my looks. Like I will have a look, and they'll just know what to play.
Go into the chorus.
Like, they just know. And so Ryan said this in one of the rehearsals, my drummer Ryan, because I mentioned like, oh my God, it's like you can read my mind. And he was like, you have exactly 6 looks and they all mean a specific thing. He just knows what they mean.
That's good.
But it's the same with Cam and James. Like, even though we don't really play together all that much, like gigging wise, because we have played very many hours together, I don't know, there's just a sort of like synchronization that we all kind of fall into, which is, it's great. Yeah. It's fun.
That's cool. And what about like with your like where things are going in the future with your like, obviously you're just releasing this one, but you're probably working on new stuff and.
Yes. So yeah, I guess in the near future, it's just working on releasing this music, trying to get it out to as many people as possible, or at least, the people that this music will resonate with.
Yeah.
And I'd love to do a tour potentially, hopefully, just a little one, just down south or something, because I've never toured before, but I really want to, and especially with these guys, I just want to go on tour with them.
What are your fans like? Are they as in what other bands do they like? Like,
I have no idea. I think it's quite varied, and just because thank you so much. Can we plug the singing tea?
Oh, that's all right. Yeah. It's the talking tea.
Side note, this singing tea that Marie has made got me through the album recording. So yes, thank you very much. And we're drinking it right now. It's helping my voice.
Yeah, it's very good for singing and speaking.
It's amazing.
Yeah, sometimes I do lecturing and I speak a lot, and so I drink that.
Oh, it's the best. Guys, get on it. Singing Tea by Metro Health.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Thanks for that sponsored segment.
It's hashtag not an ad.
Sponsored segment. What were we talking about? Touring. Like, what's next for you? Like, you want to tour, and
I'd love to.
Who are the people that kind of that music would resonate with? I mean, like who are your typical fans that come?
Yeah, this is what I'm still figuring out, because when I started doing the original stuff, I was on SoundCloud. So I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't really gigging. I was just like a bedroom producer. I was making my own beats and stuff, in my bedroom and putting them on SoundCloud and just recording everything myself, mixing everything myself. So a lot of my original fans were like SoundCloud people, which was a mixture of just anyone, like producers, beat makers. There's a lot of hip hop guys on there, even bands and stuff, like singer-songwriters. So yeah, it's just very varied. And I think because my music has so many different influences and genres infused into it, I think there's something different for everyone. Like everyone that I've talked to, at least, that they've said they liked my music, and I've asked them, oh, what do you like about it? Everyone will say something different. So yeah, I think it's quite varied.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's great that we can put stuff out there in the internet now, and you can can build your own fan base from people finding you, where you don't need like that gatekeeper of that record label or anything like that.
Yeah,
which is so great. Like it's a lot of work for people.
Yeah,
that it would be nice if you could just write the songs and that's it.
I know. Gosh.
Or sing the songs and go, oh, my job's done.
Do you know what I wish they had taught us in music school? Yeah. Just any of this like business and marketing stuff, because we just got taught how to play. We didn't get taught how to do anything with it, you know? So that's definitely something that was missing from my education. So that's what I'm trying to learn right now, like in real life, in real time.
I think it's the same in any business. Like I teach students in healthcare, and they would spend like, I don't know, 85 or 90% of the degree is in learning how to do the job. But most of those people are going to come out and be self-employed.
Really?
Right? And so they've one unit in the whole thing is on business, and at least they do that. Like
at least, there's
how to run a business, how to do that. But it's the same in any industry. Like you can be really good at making something, but not that great at marketing it.
Yep.
And like that's always my downfall is like I make all these products, I make all these things, and then I'm just like, oh, people will find me.
No,
no, they won't. Like you need to tell them about it. You need to have like that. I mean, that's where most businesses spend all their money. And I think in music, it's hard because some people are struggling just to pay for the recording.
Yeah.
Just to pay to get that thing made. And then they're like, oh, there's no more money left to do any marketing.
But that's actually so important, which is what I learned from my first album. I did this exact same thing. I was just like, let's make the music, like people will find it. And then I did zero marketing and I just dropped the album. And then it was like, we had a good launch show. And then there was just like no momentum from that because I didn't think about it. And I didn't realize that it was important. So yeah, but it's actually so important.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably, unfortunately, as important as the actual art itself.
Well, hence why there's some people that are terrible musicians and they've got a really, to be honest, a shit song, but it's very popular.
Yes. I mean,
there's something that they've done that everyone else isn't doing and they happen to get popular from their TikTok or whatever. And there's some great songs on TikTok and some great people that do. But you can... It's not about how good you are. It's about how good you are at telling everyone how good you are.
Yeah. And I mean, I wouldn't call like any song terrible. I mean,
there are some terrible songs out there.
But I feel like to get any level of popularity and success, there's something good in it. And it's just reached the right people.
Yeah. I'm talking about those cats on the piano and stuff like that. You know, when people make a song and it's like just cats meowing and
guilty. That's like, I love watching those. They're hilarious. They're so creative.
They have their place. Sorry.
I am the target demographic.
Cats on the piano.
They're the best. And like the dog ones as well. Yeah. Like they're so cute. Like yeah, so they've done the right thing. Okay, like I found them and I'm the target demographic.
Yeah. So it's just a lot of effort. It's a lot of work. Like people have to commit to it, like it's easy to lose. Well, for me, I didn't know what I was doing for ages, and that wasn't.
Oh, you seem like you know it now.
Well, that's because I had a person tell me what to do.
Oh well,
and I did what they said.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but it's easy to sort of flounder around and just be like, oh, how would you know what to do if you don't know what to do? You don't.
Yeah, and they're two completely different things, and it's hard to kind of switch from your artist brain into your marketing brain. Like that's, so I'm just making that transition now as I'm starting to release music, and it's hard.
Yeah.
You have to really separate yourself from the art a little bit to kind of be more subjective subjective and no, objective. You have to separate yourself from the art a little bit to make the clearer decisions for putting it out there.
Yeah, I think so. And there's also that conundrum between like if you get all these fans that like a certain thing, but then you're like, oh, if I make something new and it's too creative and too different, they might not like it. And then bands get like repeated the same, and then it gets stale. And it's like there's that tear between your creativity and what the fans want or what the market will want.
Yeah. I can see how that can be a problem. I don't have that many fans to have that problem, but I think even anyway, when I have found a little bit of success, I don't really give a fuck.
Well, that's good, and that's why your music's fresh and different.
Yeah. I just do what I want. Yeah.
It's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I found myself like doing that. One is because I liked that style of song, but also like people were like, "Oh, we like that song," so I was like, "Oh, I'll just write more of them." And I just made myself write more of the same, and that like because I know that from business, like people don't want different things; they want more of the same thing. As soon as they like something, they want more of the same.
Yeah.
And if they want more after they've had more of the same, they want more of similar.
Yep.
And so,
but then as an artist, that's very like stifling to your growth, right?
Not really. Like I just was like, oh, if people want this, I'll make songs like this.
Oh, see, okay, that is so interesting. So I love that you can go with that because I think for me, as soon as like someone wants me to do something, I just want to do the opposite.
Yeah, okay.
So
no, that helped me because I was like, I need to make an album, so I'll make more of these same songs.
But that's actually like that's good, and because you're right, like people want more of that thing, so then you can kind of ride that success that you've found from the first one and just amplify it further. Whereas I probably like shoot it in the face, like let's do something different.
Well, hopefully, I mean, you also people have to realize like other artists, like because that's who's probably watching these. Unless you're just a freak of nature, it likes to listen to those things. Is that it's easy to get deflated by people's opinions.
Yes.
And like I like listening to. I really love hearing back what people want to say to me. Like so, I've sent lots of emails out, and fans email me back. Oh, I like this. Sometimes I ask them things like. I'll have 2 songs. I'll send them a sample of 2 songs. Say which one do you reckon should be the single or something like that.
Nice,
right? And not send them the whole song, just like a chorus. And it will be a song like that hasn't been finished yet. It'll just be like the demo version, and it'll be like this. Which one should I finish? Like something like that, right? And and I recently put this thing out for my I'll call them my true fans, the people that have been following me for a while, and this is just funny. This is a funny thing that happens, right? And it didn't bother me because it's happened a lot in business before. But if you were vulnerable or you didn't realize this, you can easily, or if it happened in the reverse way around, you would easily you could easily get deflated, right? So I put this thing out where I was like, you can do a pre-release of the album. So my album's not coming out until a little while from now, maybe a month or 2 months or something.
Oh wow, that's fast. Nice.
Yeah. So I'm gearing up. I've been getting ready for this for 2 years, right? Anyway, so I said the pre-release is here. You can get a sample of these songs, and like this is honestly not all the songs are finished anyway at that time. So I only could put a sample of a few songs on the page, and they could hear them. And within a few minutes, I got an email from one person. Who's emailed me before, and he was like, oh, something like, wow, your songs are so like whatever, he liked them, beautiful, and I just really like the distinct nuances between the different ones.
Nice.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
Because they are similar, and I've done that on purpose because I know people like that sound.
Give the people what they want.
Exactly.
You're smart.
Yeah. And then I get another email from another guy, literally within 5 minutes, and he was like, oh, your songs are all too much the same.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear you sing in a different key, like the key of, like he's mentioning it, like the key of G or something else, like, which I know if I try to sing that high, I'll be like cats on the piano. Like, it won't be so great or something.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Oh, we obviously listen to different cats on the piano. And like I really I value people's feedback, and I sent him an emails back, and I'm not adverse to getting people's opinions and things like that. And I said to this guy, like, there's other songs that going to be the other songs that aren't even on the thing, that haven't been finished, are actually a lot different, upbeat songs versus these down-tempo things.
Yeah.
But he was basically saying
be different.
All your songs are the same.
Yeah. And
that's not enough variety for me to purchase your album, something like that, right? But at the same time, you've got another guy saying they're so different. And I think you can't take all that criticism on board from every single person.
Because you're never going to please everyone.
No.
You're really not. Yeah.
But if it had come the other way around, or you didn't get the other email, you'd sit there thinking, oh, maybe I haven't done it right. Like, maybe it's, just one person's opinion can really deflate you if you're in the wrong headspace at the time, right?
So like 8 years ago, I released some demos of the songs that I'm going to release properly now. And this was before, when I wasn't really a singer, when I was more just a keys player and, I was doing my SoundCloud thing. And one of the comments was, these songs sound great. They'll sound even better when you can sing in pitch or something. Oh. But anyway, so this guy, he's been like a long time fan, and he's still a long time fan, and he's still like one of the people that really, listens to my music and engages with it. That was probably just him trying to be constructive. Mm-hmm. But obviously at the time I was like, why would you say that? Like, but yeah, you can't let these things get to you, which is very easy to let happen because, we're so close to our art. It's like, it's a part of us. It kind of, it hits a little different.
Yeah. And that, there's a big part of art that happens because of your emotions. Yeah. And you need that to make the art. And maybe sometimes, that could sometimes be a good thing. Sometimes I've written a song because someone's told me something. I'm like, oh, fuck you, asshole. I'm going to write a song about that. Yeah,
exactly.
Right? And a good song might come out because of that. But also it can really deflate you, and you can kind of, I don't know, it can cause you to be brooding on something that you shouldn't be doing, like, or just have a bad week because of that. And I found when I started writing songs that it made me just more of an emotional person than I was.
Yeah, because you dig deep to get to that creative process.
Yeah. Whereas before I was just happily just, I don't know, a bitch.
Yeah.
without too many feelings.
Yeah.
Cold-hearted. I was happy to be a bit more cold-hearted.
Yeah.
And it's like, especially if you are, I don't know, you're working on something that is an emotional song. And maybe for you've got all these songs that they've been in process for years and years and years. Yeah. That's sort of, it's inside you, brewing away.
Yep.
Who knows what's going on there, bubbling, and ideas are coming to you, and that all the emotions. Do you feel like, you must have felt a massive relief to sort of get the single to come out now? It's been such a long time.
It was scary. I think I've had the masters since June, and like the artwork, so it's been ready to go since June. But I don't know, just from my experience with the first album, because I didn't do any of the promotion, marketing and things like that, I think I just wanted this time to have things a bit more set up, so that, when I do release it, it would be able to reach more people. And I haven't really.
No, but it's good. It seems like you've got a good plan, like doing a few, like the way you're doing it.
Flying blind. So actually, this interview today, we booked yesterday. Yeah. So that's what I mean by I just did no promotional marketing or preparation, but I'm just kind of saying
that's
yes
not your
to
fault.
opportunities.
That's because I didn't reply to your email.
Well, that was technology's fault. But I also could have emailed a lot more people, and had more things lined up.
Well, you can still line them up. You can still do that.
That's what I'm going to do. So I released this single. Yeah. I've released this single to force myself to start getting onto this, and just to kind of give myself a push and hopefully build some momentum for the next singles as well.
Yeah, well, that's how you do it. And the more fans that find you, more people find your music, and then that builds and builds. And
that's my only semblance of a plan. Other than that, there is no plan. I'm just winging it.
Yeah. Oh well, you're winging it good.
Thank you.
That sounds like a good song.
Oh, thank you.
Cool. All right. And so, what do you find that the process of songwriting does for you from a mental health capacity? Then, like, what's your What do you get out of it for yourself?
So some songs I do write, and in the process of writing them, I'm processing through the emotions that have been going through that. So another single that I will be releasing soon as part of this release cycle is called Wait Till. And this is, again, one of those songs that's like 10 years old, and it's like a sassy breakup song. But then in the process of writing it, I've discovered like my own sense of self-worth, and it was a very like, fuck you kind of song. Like, I'm better than you. Like, I deserve better than this. So that was definitely a song that helped me to process through
What's
those
that one called?
breakup emotions at the time. That one's called Wait Till.
Wait Till. Okay, that's good. I think that'll resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah. And so that one was a song that I wrote for myself to process through that and to kind of give myself the confidence, because like going through breakups, you feel really bad and down about yourself. So that was my way of, I don't know, making myself feel better. But then other songs I just write for fun, just to play around with music. Yeah.
And do you have a certain like process that you use when you, like you said, you've got these ideas that might be brewing, but then if you're like, oh, I better finish these because I need to.
Yeah.
Because you've got obviously a deadline to try to finish your album, let's say.
Yeah.
Like, are there certain things you do if you're like, okay, I need to spend this time today doing my writing today? Is there something that you do to help you get in the mood if you feel like?
Yeah. So I'm a person that I work better when I have like a long period of time to kind of just sit in the same like project. So when I started pulling this album together and starting to solidify it, so this was when the pandemic happened and there were no gigs, there was nothing to do, and I was like, I'm going to finish this album. So because I had all that time, I just, spent I think 2 weeks just finalizing the songs, and that's all I did. So for me, that is a process that works. I like to just get stuck in there and lost in there for like as long as possible. I think 2 weeks is a good time frame for me. Like longer than that would have been too long.
So what, every day, like you took time off work, like you'll just...
There was no work.
Okay. All right. Oh, that's good. Right. Oh, because there was
pandemic.
No... Okay. Right. Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah. Right. But so if I were to do it in normal times, that's not pandemic, yes, I would take aside 2 weeks, and I'd probably try to go somewhere like down south, just retreat and focus in. Yeah.
So it's sometimes I feel like doing that because you're like, there's so many distractions. You're like, oh, just do a bit of this. Oh, just do a bit of that. Or do a bit of this.
Yeah, I can't work. Some people work well with like the shorter periods. So maybe they'll take like an hour a day for a month, and then that's how they get things done. Like I would get nothing done in that hour. I need like 6 hours to kind of get into the zone and then 12 hours to do the work. So yeah.
Do you feel like you can just write a song on command if you wanted to?
I have, yeah. So one of the songs on this album, The Dreamer, I mean, it wasn't on command, but I wrote it in a day. That's probably the fastest I've ever written a song. And it was just, I had this idea and then I said, I'm going to turn this into a song. And I did. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting. Some people can and some people find it really hard, like, to do that.
I don't know. Yeah. Everyone's different. I think when you start writing, because I've written so much, like I've done the book, I've done lots of writing, like poetry. I've done one album already. This is my second album. I started to treat it like a job.
Yes.
And you just get into a different mind frame. Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you're inspired or not. It's a job. You rock up.
Yeah.
You do the work.
Yeah. And you can do it. Like you said, the songs are out there and you're just tapping into them. You have the ability.
Yes. Yeah. And I have had like writer's block before, but how I get around that is because I've like over time, I've just collected all of these little snippets and ideas, so I can just pull something that's already there, and then that usually kicks me out of the writer's block. Yeah.
Yeah, so cool. So we talked a lot about your singles and all these different individual songs. The whole album in entirety, has it got sort of a special message or meaning or purpose?
Yeah. So I tend to work in like long form projects. So both this album and the previous one were quite conceptual, as in like all of the songs flow together to make like a story if you like listen to the lyrics. This one, Chasing Summer, overall it's kind of about that feeling of when you've been in the cold and dark for so long and you just want the light and the warmth of the summer, hence the name Chasing Summer.
Okay.
That's what I would say it's about overall. And all of the songs kind of like little snapshots of that journey. There's a lot of songs in there that are about my experiences with chronic illness. So that's in there, and also just like lots of fun, uplifting songs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And so should people obviously try to listen to it in the chronological order?
Yes.
So that they can get that experience.
That's the better way.
You've put an effort into that.
Yep. Yeah.
A lot of people these days don't do that as much because they're used to just singles, Spotify.
Yeah.
And you forget that it's meant to be a journey of music.
Well, I mean, some people work better in a singles way. And I think, a lot of the music industry and especially songwriting is going more towards that singles kind of world where it's about the singles. But yes, like I said earlier, I just do what I want and I wanted to make a conceptual album. Yeah. So that's what I did.
It's great that you've done that because people can enjoy it both ways, right? They might just, obviously they usually discover your music through one song and then they're like, oh, I like this. And then they're, oh, this is actually a part of a big jigsaw puzzle and there's other things there. And
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. For this album, I have tried to make most of the songs be able to stand by themselves. Whereas on the previous album, a lot of them, so it was called Segue on the Beach, and a lot of the songs like segued into the next. So that was a lot more of the conceptual album. I've done that a little bit with this one in that like the keys will flow into each other. But there is a bit more separation between the songs so they can stand by themselves like on Spotify. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Cool. Thank you so much for spending your time to chat with us.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Awesome. So people can find you on social media because you've got lots of gigs that you do and you've got the new singles that are going to come out and then you've got your album launch.
Yes.
So where can they find you on Facebook?
Yep. So on all of my social media, so that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'm even on TikTok. All of those ones are at ML Ruubz. For YouTube, it's ML Ruubz Music.
Yeah, and it's 2 U's, right?
Yep, 2 U's.
ML Ruubz. And we'll put all the links below this episode. And if you're listening to it on Apple Audio, then you can click on the show notes, or on Spotify, there's show notes there. But also for YouTube, we'll put it on the screen here, and I'll put it in the description below. So you can find ML Ruubz on social media. So, yeah, awesome. So good luck with your album launch when it comes.
And you too. How exciting.
So I hope that you've enjoyed this episode. And if you have, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're listening on YouTube. Really appreciate that. Subscribe. And also if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, it really helps if you rate the show. That's great if you can do that. So thank you so much. And
thank you for having me. And I love your studio and I love your vibe. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
And a news flash, it's been reported that the world is feeling nothing but good vibes for the first time in world history.
The good vibes show. So good. The good vibes show. It's gotta be good. The good vibes show. The good vibes show. Nothing but a good
Hey, Marie.
Hey, Marie.
Hey, Marie.
Hi, Marie.
Hey, Marie. You can call me ML. So we are here in Marie Hopkinson's studio about to film an episode of
The Good Vibe Show.
Yeah.